Welcome back to this documentary series about scientific warnings that humanity so often chooses to ignore. In today's episode, we are talking about a warning that did not come from the military. It did not come from any government. It came from one of the greatest minds in human history, Stephen Hawking. Hawking once said that if they ever come to Earth, the question is not how intelligent they are, but whether humanity would still exist after that encounter. This is not science fiction. This is a serious warning. It is based on history. It is based on logic, and it is based on the very nature of evolution itself. So what would happen if the greatest danger is not aliens, but the fact that we are the ones calling them here? If you are interested in science, the universe, and truths that exist outside humanity's comfort zone, subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because this story is not for those who only want to hear what feels safe. For most of human history, we have looked up at the sky with one single question: are we alone in the universe? For thousands of years, that question had no answer. All we could do was observe, listen, and wait. But then, one day, we stopped only asking, we began answering on behalf of the universe. The first radio signals sent from Earth were not meant to call anyone, but they traveled anyway, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the solar system, and they continued spreading into deep space. For decades, humanity has unintentionally broadcast its own existence, our species, our planet's location, our biological structure, our music, our language, and even images of the human body. All of it was sent out with no specific recipient, with no guarantee of safety. No one knows who might be listening. No one knows whether someone out there is capable of hearing us, and most importantly, no one knows what would happen if someone ever answered back. Stephen Hawking understood this very clearly. He did not oppose the search for extraterrestrial life. On the contrary, he was one of its strongest supporters. Hawking took part in the Breakthrough Listen project, a program that scans millions of stars near Earth for signs of intelligent life beyond our planet. He believed that the chances of us not being alone are very high. But there was one thing Hawking strongly opposed. Responding in a science film released in the year 2016, Hawking made his position clear: we should be cautious about answering back. This was not an irrational fear. It was an argument based on simple logic. If a civilization is advanced enough to detect a faint signal from Earth, decode it, and pinpoint our exact location, then that civilization may be thousands of years ahead of humanity, hundreds of thousands of years ahead, or even millions of years ahead. And in evolution, that kind of gap is the most dangerous thing of all. To explain this danger, Stephen Hawking did not rely on science fiction. He relied on human history, a cold comparison, but a very realistic one. Hawking often pointed to the first encounters between Europeans and the indigenous peoples of the Americas. One side possessed large ships, advanced weapons, superior technology, and organized systems of power. The other side did not even know it had been discovered. That encounter did not end in cooperation. It did not end in peace. It ended in exploitation, destruction, and the collapse of entire civilizations. Not because every European was cruel, but because of an absolute imbalance of power. Hawking warned that a meeting with a highly advanced extraterrestrial civilization could unfold in much the same way, not out of hatred, not out of malice, but out of complete indifference. They had just been discovered. That encounter did not end in cooperation. It did not end in peace. It ended with genocide, exploitation, and the disappearance of entire civilizations. Not because Europeans were inherently cruel, but because of an absolute imbalance of power. Hawking said that a contact with a highly advanced Extraterrestrial civilization could unfold in the same way. No hatred required. No malice required. Only indifference. A civilization capable of traveling between the stars does not need to hate us to become a threat. To owe them. Earth may be nothing more than a resource-rich planet, a biosphere that can be exploited, or simply a variable not worth much concern. Hawking once said that they might not see us as anything more valuable than the way humans see bacteria. No war required. No invasion required. Only a cold decision, and our existence could come to an end. History has shown that when a stronger civilization appears, the weaker one rarely has a good outcome, and in the universe, there is a very high chance that we are on the weaker side. Not all scientists agree with Hawking, that he believes that a sufficiently advanced civilization has moved beyond war, beyond conflict, and would choose peaceful communication. They believe that greater intelligence comes with greater morality, but Hawking was not that optimistic. He believed that human history is evidence of the opposite. Technology always develops faster than morality, and power always moves ahead of compassion. The universe may not be so different from Earth, just on a much larger scale. From this, Hawking proposed an idea that is frightening but logical. Silence. Do not transmit signals. Do not respond. Do not announce our location. In a universe full of the unknown, being discovered may be more dangerous than being alone. Silence is not about fear. It is about survival. Today, disclosures about unidentified flying objects are appearing more frequently. NASA continues to deny. The military remains silent. There is no official confirmation. There is no final conclusion. Only questions that have never gone away. There is no evidence showing that these phenomena are connected to extraterrestrial life. Yet that silence still makes many people uneasy. Is this silence because there is nothing out there, or because there are things that cannot be spoken aloud? The universe remains silent. No signals. No answers. But perhaps that silence is not accidental. Perhaps civilizations intelligent enough have all learned the same lesson as Stephen Hawking. In this vast universe, the survivor may not be the strongest, but the one who knows when to remain silent. If you want to continue this journey, subscribe right now. In the next episode, we will explore an even more terrifying hypothesis. What if the entire universe is silent, not because of loneliness, but because everyone is hiding? I will see you again in the next episode.